Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Your Saturday paranormal psychic and ghost hunter on Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, James Creachbaum.
Hello, everyone, and it's another great Saturday night with another great guest on a great network, nightdreamstalkradio.com. Hey, without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Valentina, a newlywed. How are you doing? And give us a brief little bio about yourself.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Valentina Marie Lomborg, and now I guess it's Wiley as well. And I am from Copenhagen, Denmark, and then I moved to America via several different stops along the way, including Switzerland and Alaska. And California was my last stop until I moved to Florida. I am a psychic medium, and I started in the paranormal world in 2010 when I was on the Queen Mary with a cast of Ghost Adventures. And from there, that really spawned a lot of curiosity with the paranormal. However, it has been in my life since I was about 14. And then I've had my gift since I was, let's see now, almost 30 years. But I sort of pushed my gifts away until really they set forth around 2010 when I did that thing with on the Queen Mary. That was sort of the beginning of really starting to work with my gifts and not put them aside so much.
Wow, I can relate to what you're saying about pushing them aside for a while. And you know what? I seen that episode a while back. Matter of fact, I didn't realize that was you till now. But yeah, I seen that episode. And
I wasn't on it. But
oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't think I'd seen you, but I must have seen you because
we did like a.
Okay,
well,
go ahead.
It was like a convention. It was one of those paranormal conventions, events for like several days. So yeah, I don't think there was cameras there for that on that aspect. But yeah.
That ship was supposed to be really haunted. Did you come across some evidence, and did you see or hear and stuff? Or catch any evidence?
Yeah, that place that was started the beginning of like a lifelong obsession with that ship. Just in probably like from 3 till 6 in the morning, I sat up talking to about 15 different ghosts. I was using the obelisk at that time, but there was knocking on the wall, there was temperature changes, and that got me really hooked. And since I lived in LA, I would go an average of about 10 times a year and stay on it, or eat on it, have lunch. I mean, any excuse to get on the Queen Mary, and it's never disappointed. There's always something that happens, whether I've had my sheets pulled off, I've had lights turn on, and then I turn them off, and I go out of the room and come back in, and another light is on. I've had closets and hangers rattle in the closet. I've captured the little girl in the pool.
Oh, you did?
Interacting with me.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That was the first, because I always go down there to try to talk to her, but she was a little shy at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I think as the ghosts have gotten used to me being there so much, it's almost like I can hear them say that she's here. By the time I walk in, I've smelled cigar smoke through the hallways, and there's absolutely no smoking allowed on the ship. So it really, I think to date, and I've been to, the Sandy Hotel, I've been to different locations all over the world, and I think that this probably by far is still to date my most favorite place. It just never disappoints.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you this. Was you able, or did you have access to go down to the engine room down way back where the propeller is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've actually,
you did?
Wow. I haven't. The weird thing is I recorded something, and I still haven't. I have to find the audio and have somebody who's more in like the armed services and something. But there seems to be Morse code. I was walking through, and not only did I capture like an old-time war radio voice talking and giving out, war instructions, but there's also like some Morse code in the back. So I really need to pull apart that audio. But it was just, it was really crazy.
Wow.
So that one is a little trickier. And then I captured, on one of the floors, I captured a lady in white, which was featured worldwide, including MSN and Bing. And then I got obsessed with her and finding out who she was. And then in the same spot, I took a picture of a different woman. So that also started part of the obsession with because I've captured audio, messages and interactions and EVPs and obelisk stuff, but I hadn't really captured a ghost on camera. And so once I did that, I was just like, oh my God, like how many other ghosts have I missed that, you don't see with the naked eye? This was captured on the camera. So,
True.
So then I just became obsessed with running around taking pictures, trying to get something else.
Run around in the dark yelling, are you here? Anybody here? People.
Yeah, I don't ever say that because, I can feel when things are there, so I don't really have to say that anymore.
Right.
Thank
Right,
God.
you know when.
But
Yeah, you know when they're there, right?
Yeah.
You. So let me
Well,
ask you
it's
this.
funny.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask
No,
you how
go
many.
ahead.
How many total? I'm sorry. How many total spirits did you find on the Queen Mary then?
Well, that first day I was there in 2010, I think it was December 10th, 2010, somewhere around December, I talked to a total of 15. And these were ones that went through and told me how they had died. And I sort of, I wrote it all down, and then I did for several weeks after I did research, which there wasn't much, it was a little difficult to go through archives and find any sort of mysterious deaths, but there was at least 50 total mysterious deaths on that ship alone. And I talked to 15 of them.
And
so
that's just, go ahead. I was just going to say, that's just what you know of or what's documented.
Exactly, and there wasn't really, much of a manifest and records kept back then. And if it was kept very hush-hush, because that's going to turn people away from going on a ship if there's all these crazy deaths. And then I captured also the first full I didn't capture this one, but this was the first apparition I saw at 3 a.m, walking through the hallways, delivering what do you call it? Food, room service.
Oh yeah.
And that was food service. And he was walking. He was decked out in a full. I remember his outfit, black pants, crop jacket. Everything was to detail. And then I realized he was like about 50 feet away from me. And the next thing, within seconds, he was all the way up by my door. And I was standing in the hallway, and I thought, oh my God! So I ran back in because I thought. And then I thought, this is weird. How can this guy be walking? I hear that the tray clinging. And then I opened the door back out again. I looked, and he was gone. And I didn't hear anybody. I didn't hear him knock anywhere. I didn't hear the clanging of the tray. And he was decked out in 1930s outfit, which they don't even dress like that when they do room service. And room service stops at 11. So that was odd, but that was the first time I'd seen like a full-on. And I knew that my imagination couldn't pull all that together that quickly. So I was like, holy cow, you just saw your first apparition.
Right, and it's pretty detailed, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I knew I couldn't make that up. It's just too much. But then I looked at, the fun part was I looked at older pictures, and they were dressed exactly like I saw him. But that's not how, when they're there now, in the current time, they just wear like a gray vest and black pants. And they roll the food on a little rolling thing. But I had seen an entire silver dome tray. I could hear it clinging. I could hear it. I could see him. I could see the colors. He had brown hair. His gloves were attached to the shoulder. I mean, it was so incredibly detailed. And then he just disappeared like that. But that was good. He wasn't see-through. I mean, he was like a solid person.
Like a solid person. Almost pretty much like you stepped back in time, pretty much, and caught a glimpse.
Yeah. And I remember going back to the room and thinking, wow, they really outdo it here on the ship. They dressed up 1940s and everything. And then that wasn't even the case.
Now I got to ask you, did you ask like one of the staff or something, like, hey, you guys have a retro night or something going on that I didn't know about?
I did. Like I went in the room and I thought about it, and then I went back home to my house, which was like 20 minutes from the Queen Mary. And it just bothered me. Something was off all week. And I thought, I need to call and ask when room service stops. Because this was at 3 a.m. And I thought, well, wow, if there's room service at 3, I think I'll order something. So I called the ship. A week later. And I said, hey, just out of curiosity, what time does the room service stop? And she goes, oh, it always stops at 11. So at that point, my heart just sunk. And I thought, wow. You just saw your first real-time apparition, decked out in to the era, and holy cow! And I'll never forget that. And that became the beginning of like I need to go on that ship every chance I get.
Well, I got to ask you something, Valentina. When you realized that second, you realized that, did the hair on the back of your neck stand up?
If I had hair on the back of my neck, no. Because, I mean, it was so real that I just thought, wow, I just encountered. But then I started adding 1 and 2 together. Yeah. Because I was standing out in the hallway in my pajamas, and I thought, well, this guy has come from 50 feet almost up to me, and I'm in my pajamas. I got a little bit, modest, and I ran back down the hallway into the room.